Just doing a sound check. Let me know if everyone can hear on the Zoom as well as the YouTube channel. And hey, Ben, I'll check on that. One of the administrators should allow you in. We had some bots get into the Facebook, of course, so we've had to get a little more on them. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good on Zoom. Hello,
Okay.
everybody.
All right. So just a couple minutes. We're gonna let some folks come in. Take just a few minutes to get going here, folks. I would have had the meeting going a few minutes sooner, but I was having some Microsoft fun. I had to reboot and start over. Welcome, Richard. I'm actually going to, let's see if this works. Seem to be having a few issues here. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm getting so everybody's hearing me on both sides, right? YouTube, Zoom.
Yes, in Zoom.
Just testing the audio one last time. We'll take a little time out. We still have some folks coming into Zoom. And on Zoom, we're seeing the welcome screen here, right? Just checking out a few settings. We still have quite a few people joining here yet.
Yes, on Zoom I can see welcome to 101.
Okay, awesome.
YouTube's still showing the WaveTech livecast first screen. Is that normal?
I just switched it over, so it takes about 20 or 30 seconds.
There it goes. Okay. Yeah, the lag. Yeah, guys, Jay and Bob. Hello, Ron. How you doing?
And just a few more people letting in. It was my fault. I had to reboot the computer. I was going to do video on this, but video seems to be Zoom has conflicted with the card. I've been having issues with this new video capture card I got. So okay, folks, just take a quick break for 1 second, and I'll be right back. You know, it would help. I was talking to everybody if I turned my mic on.
Oh, you see, we're back.
That's quite helpful, I find.
This is Jackson, and I see Scott over in the right-hand corner.
Oh, really?
We can hear you well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I said I hate Zoom. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not a fan of Zoom. Let me see what, because all I'm seeing is this PowerPoint. I've got everything set up here. Yeah. So I don't know why that's showing up over there. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. These video settings are just coming in automatically. So I guess if yeah, now I've got all my setups all messed up now. All right, let's get going. All right, so I guess we'll just have to see Scott over on the side there. I guess if you want, you can turn that video off, but I don't know that. Can I do that? Yeah, so I just stopped video altogether. I have no idea what I just did. But you guys are still hearing me, all right? Sorry for this rough start. Jay, are you guys hearing me?
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. There's somebody. Is anyone hearing me?
Hello, who's that?
Jason, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Jay, are you hearing me?
Let's hope we can
There we go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get this video off here. I am sorry for the rough start here. My goodness. Okay. All right, we're going to start. So I had the mic off. I had a good start going. So everybody's hearing me fine now, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so the plan is I'm going to go through a presentation here today. I'll talk about a few things, but this is starting to get to the point of, I know there's some new people on the line. I've seen them as far as on the Zoom, but I closed out that, so now I can't even see who's on there anymore. So trying to get rid of video. But the plan is to go through some ideas for maintenance. I've seen some questions, and Jay Kendall, I would like, I know that there's some common questions we have out there that if, when I'm going through this stuff, if you think of something, just go ahead and chime in, okay, when I get to that section. And yeah, so what the plan here is to get through a basic presentation, and then I'm going to open up questions about what I talked about, and then it's a free-for-all. And roughly 90 minutes from right now, we're going to end. That's going to be the plan, is to attempt to get this thing done. It's just taken too much of all of our time, and I know it's valuable. Everybody's hanging out, but just want to get through this best that we can. So as always, we open up with this Welcome 101, and I'm going to, oh great, this is not, this is not even the presentation. That's just hilarious.
Do we need to restart today?
I'm thinking so, man. I tried to set up Zoom so I could do video, and nothing's working. So we will try this again. How about this?
Twilight Zone.
It feels like the Twilight Zone. Anyway, man, I am sorry. So anyway, so we're going to go through this first section that we usually go through. Now this looks normal. And what we'll do here is just kind of set up. So if you're a newbie, you should already have watched the videos on the Portfolio Expert website. And I'll go through that as I always do, just as an introduction. And then my plan is to go through a number of things of looking at exactly what we can do. When I've seen some questions about adding new money, people aren't getting how this thing works. So I will go through that. And yeah, this is just a complete cluster here today. I cannot, and trying to get rid of all of the stuff that I was trying to get rid of. Now I can't see what I need to see. We've got people trying to join. I can't get them in. I apologize. This is crazy. All right. So as I go through the typical stuff, we're not going to go through any of this stuff. What we're going to focus in on is we're going to take a portfolio and we're going to update some constituents. We're going to talk about some considerations, and when you're updating a portfolio, how to implement and to do order matching when you're starting a portfolio. I think that's some things that I've been seeing, pretty common issues. Is there any other things, Jay, that you're aware of?
Yeah, one of the things I was going to bring up today, I was doing a little bit of preparation, and because I was looking through the portfolio database, is letting people know that what the warnings are, the portfolio warnings when a symbol has.
Oh yeah, yeah, good one.
I was actually kind of doing quick little maintenance on the Premier portfolios, and I'm like, let's see how many warnings there were. And there was about an extra 74 warnings from clients. So
okay.
I haven't heard any questions about it, but I want to head those off and
Yeah, because they don't know there's
Talk about it.
errors going on. Yeah, good one. Okay, yeah. So I'll let you. It sounds like you're prepped, and we'll tag team that one.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah. So so the plan today is actually I'm just going to go right to the manager. The only thing I would show you if you're new and you haven't been to the website Portfolio Expert, and I'm really frustrated because I closed down TradeStation. I've got a number of things I want to show you guys, and I'll wait till things get going. And I'll try to bring some stuff up, but we are working on getting the market grid on about 50 symbols, and it looks like it was going to go in WaveTech. It now looks like it's going to go on this website. But if you haven't been here, you're going to go to WaveTech Training videos. Make sure if you're new that you've watched this, and then also make sure if you're new and you're on the Zoom chat right now that you ask some questions that are pending. So this is a good opportunity for Jay and I both to answer questions or anything that comes up. But this stuff here, there's only a few videos right now, and we are still working on trying to get the videos from the WaveTech. This is like number 15, and they typically have been 2 hours plus. So we've got 30 hours of training, but there's hours of this stuff to go through, so you can't really find anything. And I know I saw somebody make a comment on the channel or something. I finally found the video I was looking for. And so there's a lot of content here that I have produced over the last several weeks. But this is a place, make sure you've watched this, understand these. This is going to help you a lot. And so that'll move you forward. One of the things that, like I said, what I want to achieve today in this first section is I want to talk about how to update constituents. Hopefully I've got enough in here. I'll be able to find a portfolio off of this account that will help us to come up with some new ideas and some things that are going to actually help us, help us to determine what symbols are the ones that you want to replace, and how to at least think through some of this stuff. Because I started a few weeks ago, and we brought up a spreadsheet, and we started talking about screening and all that stuff. So we got a number of things. This is what, the 15th of September. By October 1st, somewhere on the Portfolio Expert website will be our screening. There will be screens that will be available for you to select stocks from, and that will be included in the monthly fees. And so we run all the data. I'll show you the spreadsheet here in a minute, but that'll be available. Then ultimately, all the market grid for 50 symbols, and I was going to show it to you, but I was worried that I got an error in TradeStation a few minutes ago, and we do have the ability to run quite a few symbols. I guess it's some logistics and trying to get this information to you. And we'll probably start off with this generic view, and then ultimately there will be maybe a drop down or some kind of menu that you can grab the stocks. And then my goal is for the market grid stuff is to actually, so you can set up like your top 10 symbols that you want to watch, so it automatically comes into there. But that's down the road a little bit. For right now, they'll be in there, and you'll be able to pick some things out. There's been some magical numbers in some of these stocks, and but I'll bring that up if I can once I get through all this stuff. We'll do that toward the end of the videos from that standpoint. But the goal here today is to take a portfolio. I'm just going to click on a couple. There's some that have some decent number of symbols in them, and I'm going to randomly actually take and update the constituent list. We're going to talk about adding money. Jay's going to, there's a couple things that you need to make sure of, because Jay mentioned a minute ago that if you have missing data, it actually affects how the portfolio runs, and we'll go through that here shortly. But I still love my Buffett Airlines. Buffett strategy is up 97. The airlines are still hanging in there pretty good. But anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to take and simulate what I'd like to see you folks do to use this properly. And the goal here is for you to be able to run your 401ks, and a lot of those will be mutual fund related. But as far as your retirement accounts, if you can do individual equities, and that is something I want to make sure that you understand how to do what I'm showing you right now. And for the most part, the strategies with ETFs or mutual funds are a little more static. There's not that much work to do those. Yeah, and anyway, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's take a look at the option, this option 23. I think that one caught my eye. There's 22 symbols in here. So we're gonna do what I call a portfolio review. We're gonna take a look at this portfolio. See, we're about 7.7% off of its all-time high. You can see this equity curve has dropped down a little bit here. It's right now, it has taken a lot of protection. So we've got, of the 22 symbols in this portfolio, we only have 6 longs right now. And so that means we've moved to a 50% cash position. So this equity is probably not going to do much. You can see as of yesterday, this is actually a really good point for you folks to realize. Everybody, and I keep talking about this, we've been offering this product for 22 years out into the marketplace, and everybody gets this wrong, what I'm about to tell you. And what they get wrong is people think that if you have money, you have to have every penny working at every second to make the most money possible, and it's not necessary. And I just want you to see that this was as of yesterday's market, this portfolio was up 1.49%. And we're going to look at a couple elements, but this is important to understand, because this thing has 50% in cash. It went up 1.4%. The S&P was up 1.7 yesterday. So with 50% of the money in cash, it was still able to perform. You don't have to have every penny. Somebody would argue, oh, but if you did have every penny, no, you want to, as I've been talking a lot about with you folks, is that running a portfolio is different than trading. And you're trying to get the equity. You see here, there's been a couple dips on this chart, but the goal is to try to stabilize things when it gets crazy, and try to mitigate the downside risk. And then when markets start to go again, then you want to build equity. Now what we're doing now with this thing being at 50% cash is it's actually protecting that we've lowered the beta or the exposure to the market by raising cash. We don't have that exposure. So sometimes lowering exposure is good. You know, we look at, the NASDAQ had a 10% drop, and I think a lot of these stocks are NASDAQ stocks here. But we're going to go through a whole review, but I want you to understand that one thing for sure. And I believe this has got a lot of daily symbols in here. So we're going to do the review. We're going to look at the active stocks. Yeah, these are all dailies. So this is a short-term strategy. There's going to be a lot of turnover, but it's also going to it's going to get in and get out very, very quickly. So these are all the symbols in here. If we go over to our, we're going to do two things. Our open positions right now, if you recall, we have 4 on, but it said we had 6. I'll show you where the other 2 are. We had 2 new orders for today. And remember, this is an end of day process. So until we go out to our data vendor here in about 3 hours, 2.5 hours, we'll go get the data. We'll update the data from today's trading, rerun the portfolios, issue any buys or sells that need to be done for tomorrow's opening. So this is what we currently own. We got AMD. We bought back on July 10th, 57 bucks. Last price we knew, which was yesterday's close, 77.90, up 35. You can see that. Now here's where the other 2 symbols are. There were 2. Yeah, so this is a mix. We got a buy in Bank of America, and we got Yamaha Gold. Yeah, that's not Yamaha, is it? I can't even say that one.
Is it Yamana?
Yeah, Yamana. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So AUY. So we got 2 new buys. So when we go back to the summary page, you'll see that the current is 4 longs right here on this line right here. Let me highlight it. 4, but it says projected is 6. So these orders were out last night. So when you came in this morning, you would have had 2 transactions to do. You would have bought AUY and Bank of America BAC on the open today. So then when you look at that, the summary now shows us that we did have, it's interesting. So we're going to have 53% in cash. So we used about 16% of the money. Yesterday we had 30% invested. As of today we had 47%. Okay. So there's a couple things that we want to do. This actually ends up to be a better idea than I thought. And this is going to be all random. I'm not using this portfolio. It's just been used for this presentation. And so what we're going to do is go back and we're going to review, and I'm just going to review about 3 symbols, because to go through, right now we have 16 symbols that have no positions. So I'm going to show you a couple things, and I'm hoping to be able to go step by step here so that you understand. So you can, I'm going to bring this over on the screen here. And this is this is a spreadsheet that we will be delivering every month, and it's going to have all these stats on there. I'm going to do a video just on this, just so we have a video out there on the channel just for this particular spreadsheet, so you understand what it's doing. But it's got a bunch of preset screens. One is accelerating growth, high return, high growth. There's a bunch of screens here. So all we're going to do, and I'm going to just grab some random symbols here, and we're going to update 3 symbols, but I'm going to bring in the perspective of why we would make these changes. And I'm hoping to be able to simulate this thought process. So let's do this. So we have these 22 symbols in here right now. We have 6 of them that are long, so we have 16 that are not. We're going to go look at our active symbols, and I want to try to find something that we don't have. It looks like there's some financial, mostly tech stocks in here for the most part. It's kind of a mishmash of stocks. So I'm going to make some totally random draft. I'm surprised we don't have DraftKings has been a hot stock, right? But let's take and So here's the consideration that I looked at this list, and I'm just tired of waiting for Intel to move. I'm just making this thought up. I don't want Intel in my portfolio anymore. I want to replace it. So I make a note. INTC is out. We're going to do telephone T, AT&T, and VALLE. Okay, so this is my consideration, is that I have these three symbols. I want to replace them. If I wanted to be more radical, I would review every one of the symbols that doesn't have a position to see if I like how they look. So how would I do that? Let's do the ones that I chose here. Let's just pop up a quick chart here. We click on the C button. Just want to see what this chart. Yeah, I mean this thing is just, it's not been a good stock. So this was a random input. So Intel's out. We've got telephone. So better yet, let's just click on the R button and go right to the, let's go to the R button and just look at this. So you can see this just got out. This stock's not doing anything. This is terrible. So good choices randomly that I made. And then I just hit the back button, go back to here. Then the last one is down here is the VALE. Actually, nice trade there, but that's okay. We got a 6.5% gain. I'm going to take it out anyway. That's okay. So, so we'll say when we looked at these, that these are stocks that we decided to just X out of the portfolio. We don't want it in anymore. And we're going to replace it with some other symbols. So now we're going to go to something, it's something we could do if you want. Jay, you can see the chat line, right?
Yes, I am. Yes,
okay, I'm going to let you guys pick 3 symbols for me to replace, okay? So if give me 3 symbols to replace Intel, AT&T, and this Valley. I don't know what they do, but what we would do, I'm just doing this totally random. It doesn't matter. But these are what you would be looking at. In this case, we would look through these screens, and maybe in the fundamental section way over here, that there's some things over here that we consider to be important, and we're looking at whatever value versus sales, trailing 12 months, whatever. And we really like whatever symbols that we have with. Jay, you got 3 symbols for me?
Yeah, they're ripping these up.
I bet.
AMD.
I think.
Let's try this. So AMD.
Yeah. Okay. We'll replace Intel with AMD. Okay.
Starbucks SBUX.
Okay.
And I didn't think NIO's not on the list. Is it NIO? I didn't see.
I'm not sure. Let's go back and look at it.
There's either NIO or a lot of people are saying work, WORK. But yeah, I was trying to watch what you're doing, and then I was getting the chat line was flooding with them.
I'm sure that's why I did that. I did that for that reason. So, okay. All right, guys, I just want to make it easy. So the considerations for all of this is what we're going to do is we're not going to put these stocks in from 3 weeks ago. We're going to add them for tomorrow. This is a short-term strategy. And so I hope all those symbols that you gave me aren't way up and we're buying the top of something. But let's go to that step. Let's take a look at that. This would be the entire thought process that you would go through. Let's put AMD here, and I'm thinking AMD's not a good ad, but let's just see what we come up with. I'm gonna go daily here.
Yeah, I have quite a few more if you need it. So
yeah, I just want to show the review process. So if I put AMD, those of you who've watched many of these, I know some of you have. So I'm looking at AMD. Oh, there it goes. So this thing's up 35%. Do I really want to buy a stock that's up 35%? I don't know. Probably not. We're buying this thing up here. It's retraced a little bit. It's probably closer to an exit than it is good. We want to find, this would be your ultimate goal, is to buy low, sell high. So you'd find something like maybe if this trade here just came out, then you'd be looking to buy into this base and add it when the stock was low. When you got a stock that has over doubled in price, it's probably not a good choice. It would have been a good choice 8 weeks ago, but it's not necessarily a good choice today. And matter of fact, that brings up something on the presentation that I will bring up, and this will all tie together. So, and you've seen this, but before, but in a different way. This right here, there's a couple things that we want to consider is how far down this scale. Now, this is a weekly scale. If we did a daily scale, it would have from 0 to about 50 days. And right now, AMD would be pegged, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. AMD, if we look at the trade, if we go to the trade profile in AMD, this is what we'll see. And these are all the considerations. So when you bring a new stock into a portfolio, you want to make sure you're looking forward, not looking backwards. So in this case, you can see here that AMD current duration, so the average trade is 50 days long on AMD. That stock has 46 of those days have already been yielded. The average gain on this is 28%. It's up 38. This stock is completely played out. In fact, it's much closer to exiting than it is buying. And that goes back to that scale that I was just showing you a minute ago, which is right here, which is, bring this up real quick, is this is just the duration side, but we also have how much of the expected trade was already done. So remember, you can go, there's not a lot of systems out here that are going to be able to map the future for you. So this tells you that normally we hold a stock for 50 days. Normally we make 28%. This projected standard deviation is 61. So but you notice also over on the right-hand side, we've exceeded that. So I put a lot of time in this, but this would not be the stock to add. Hey Jay, on your side, could you find me one that these guys are throwing out there that is kind of newer?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I think maybe this one it almost looks like bingo, BNGO. That's one, but yeah, I can get you a few.
Well, let me take a look at that.
Try that one.
That's fine. Yeah.
So I just ran analysis on the first group, and I'll give you 3 names which I found.
Okay, correct. Go for it, Michael.
TGNA. N, Nicholas, not N.
Oh, and I got it. Yep.
I mean, I was only screening for them to be in the lows, not in the tops.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, so let's take a look at it. This is exactly what you want to do. Okay, this thing's been in, but it's out of the trade, doesn't have one right now. And what we would like to see happen in this portfolio is a brand new trade come in. So this is perfect in a lot of ways, but we'd also probably, and there's a couple other considerations. This is going to be not overly complicated, but remembering this thought process is important. So this is a good one. So let me just, so this one is what I would say is forward looking. And Michael, do you say you got that off the screen?
Yeah.
Off that screen that I just showed?
No.
Or different one. Okay. Because I know I sent that to you.
You sent me out, remember?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I just put them in trade. I just copied them, put them in trade station, and just faster look for the ones which are not overvalued.
Got it. So, so this is a good one. It's theoretically buying low, hoping to sell high, right? And Michael, since you've studied all this stuff, do you have a symbol that's been recently bought that we could put in?
No, because I didn't do that deep of research.
That's okay. All right. I just thought I'd ask.
I will be checking right now. I have too much symbols. I'll check.
I bet you do. Yep. Okay. So, but the considerations are this. We're going to go back to the portfolio. I'll get back there eventually. So we go all the way back to the portfolio. In theory, if we were looking at this, so a couple things. We saw the NASDAQ correct 10%. So we'd be asking a lot of questions like, okay, what stocks are going to rotate? Are they going to be the same stocks? We've got Amazon in here. Are all the stocks that we already love? Are they still, we want to stay with some of those? Maybe so, but maybe we want to look at what's potentially the next rotation. So this, by the way, this is a short-term strategy. This would be done probably maybe once a month would be more than enough to facilitate this, especially after the database on a short-term database. If you're watching the channel, you know it's been absolutely blown out big time. We're only 15% long right now. So literally 8 stocks out of 10 have been sold. So everything's blowing up. And so there's almost all the short-term stocks we're going to find, probably 8 out of 10 of them won't even have a position right now. So it's going to be actually hard finding something that has a new position on a short-term strategy. But the point of this is that you want to review them, and you don't have to replace all 16, maybe half of them. We still like Amazon. We still like these stocks. So I just randomly picked these stocks to take out. So see, and I think, a lot of times people are, they think like this, and this is why I reached out to the group. So let's just go here, and I'm going to put in work. Oh, wow. The Fibonacci Queen is calling me. If you guys know Carolyn Borderwin. Okay. Should have put her on speakerphone, told her she was live.
There you go. Yeah. Surprise guest. You're on live.
You know, she's used to being live. She spends her whole day live. So she just didn't know she was walking into this. But anyway, yeah, so all the considerations you want to find and update these lists as you're going through them gradually, so that you do it incrementally. Like I would suggest, if you're running a short-term strategy, at the end of the month, you review what I'm doing here. We review the constituents, and then we put in and we try to find new stocks to come in. Now, if you're using a screening methodology, it's a lot easier to find stocks. So when we look at Slacks, this is interesting because this I put it on weekly. Let me flip it to daily. I thought I did flip it to daily. Hang on. Yeah, so let's see what it comes up with. That's interesting. It's coming up with a yeah, so this thing, let's go with the 3-2 model. So we'll put work in there. It's not going to come on for a while. This thing got crushed. So this is just randomly showing you. So let me get to my point, and let's just take, we'll take two of these stocks. We're going to put in TNGA and work, and we'll take 2 out. So we go over to our portfolio manager. We can do it a couple ways, but we're going to go over to this option daily, and we're going to go to modify, and we're going to come down here to create, and we're going to put in on a daily basis. So there's weekly. If you put it in the top box here, it's going to find the best model for weekly. This is short term. We want to optimize for daily. So we're going to put in work, and matter of fact, work we want to put in 3.2. So we already know we decided that, so I can put it down here. So I'm just going to put up here TGNA, and then all I have to do is over here on the wizard, I hit next, and we will find those. Here's TNGA, and this is where it's ultimate. If you don't do this right, it's going to affect your back test. So we're adding in a stock. You can see that January 2nd, 2015, we built a back test on this. And what we want to do here is we don't want it to trade from January 2015. So we're going to stop it, and we're going to add a new entry, and we'll do it for September. Tomorrow's going to be the 16th, Mexican Independence Day. Don't ask me why I know that. And we're going to hit start, and we hit apply. So now you see 2 entries. Okay. And it's going to show stop. So I'm not going to trade it from the beginning. I'm going to start trading this stock tomorrow. And there's no current position, so nothing's going to happen there. It'll just be waiting for a position. Now we're going to go into work down here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to stop it at the beginning of the portfolio. The system automatically, over here, the inception date, right here, is January 2nd, 2015. The WaveTech tool will automatically do a 5-year backtest. You can change that when you set it up, but this is how this one was originally set up. And I would suggest to do at least a 2-year look back, or just leave it alone and let it do 5 years so you can get a better feel for how these stocks look. So here we're going to stop it, work on this. We're going to go to September 16th, 2020, and we're going to start. We're going to apply, and so you see right now it's off, but it will automatically come on to tomorrow. So so we've done that. Now we're taking 2 out. We're taking Intel out, INTC. We're just going to, it's from the beginning. That's fine. I've got this browser blowing up. That's why it's doing this to this window. So we're going to go to September 16th, 2020, and we're going to stop it, and we're going to hit apply. And that'll stop it trading as of tomorrow. If there was an open position, it will actually exit the trade tomorrow. So it will sell. You'll get a sell signal to come out in the system, and then you'll have, if there were open positions in these others that we added, you would actually get a buy signals for those, but they don't have any buys. They could have after today, but it didn't look like it. Like it was very likely. The last one is we're going to take, we already took out, we're going to take out telephone here, take out AT&T. Same thing, September. (16) 2020, stop, apply, close. Now by doing this, it will keep the integrity of the portfolio. And the ultimate goal is, I'm going to show you here in a minute, is when you do these things, it will look, if you follow the trades, then it will look just like your brokerage account. They should be a mirror of each other. Okay. Should absolutely be a spitting image of what's in your brokerage, should also be what's on WaveTech. And in percentages, the point where you bought the whole bit. So once we have all this done, we don't need to do anything else. We go down to allocate, finish, and then we hit there, run it. Make sure you click this little OK button at the top. You'll see it's queued right now, allocation queue, and it's running right now. So we can hit the portfolio manager. This comes into a queue every minute. So if I hit portfolio access, it's still in the queue. So it'll take, if I just chat for a few more minutes, it will come into, it'll hit the run and off it goes. Let's see here. Still hasn't hit, so we must hit it. So the longest that you're ever going to wait is if a lot of folks were in there rebuilding, rerunning portfolios, might be 2 minutes. I forget how many portfolios we can run simultaneously when they're queued up. So there could be hundreds of you all changing your portfolios, updating. It might take 2 minutes. It updates very quickly. Let's see, it should be updated now. Yep, so what you'll see here is run through 9/14. 9/14 is the last known date. It's end of day. When we get data today, it will show, you'll know that your portfolio has been updated when it has today's date on it. So you come in on the 16th, it should have the 15th. The system knows every holiday, everything, that it knows what days the markets trade, which ones they don't. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's so we did that. Okay, so we basically updated our portfolio. Now we're just waiting for new orders. So when we come in tomorrow, I don't recall, but let's take a look. Let's look at our open positions that we sell. Yeah, we did sell one. There should be an order for tomorrow for this VALE. That one's coming out, and then we'll have one less position. We'll have a little bit more in cash. Okay. And all of this can be done. Now I'm bringing up this spreadsheet again. All of this could be done through screens, picking, maybe your entire list is from this accelerating growth. I know folks that will take and look for common stocks that are on multiple screens, and they feel like that gives them more validity. When you get your hands on this, you should be able to sort and do anything you want with this. There are a total, going down here, of 791 symbols in here. The other thing you can do is, now this screen will start updating again. The last time this thing was updated was over at 1/11/2019, so it was last November. So this will start updating again like we used to. We actually didn't offer this service for a while, but I think it's valuable to this community. All right. Jay, if you want to go through this homepage, we'll see. I should have some. I do have.
Yeah. That's the one I created and I shared with you so that you'd have at least one warning on there.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's the one I just created earlier for this training show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I wanted to give everyone an idea what they're looking for to make sure that their portfolios are up to date. Is, yeah, when you log in or any time that you're in, WaveTech, make sure you go to the home page, because you will see the red and yellow warnings, which will let you know that there's an issue with at least one of your portfolios.
And it could be legit, meaning that somehow our data vendor didn't get the data. So then your next step would be go to the and report it.
Correct. Yeah. What I was going to say, my routine that I do, which is exactly what I was doing earlier, because it's been a while since I've updated the Premier portfolio list, is that when I click on the red E or whatever I click on for that portfolio, the list that you just brought up will come up. And so yeah, AS, NA, and NE. What I'll do is either you go to Google Finance, there's like a NASDAQ one, Yahoo Finance, go to one of the online finance.
Probably the best is to go to Yahoo, because we use the same data vendor.
Yeah, yes, we do.
Yeah, and then if they don't have it, then check Google, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I always just say Google, because you give me a hard time about using Yahoo. So
well, not for this, because this is they use our same database. So
correct. Yes. So I always double check just to make sure that yes, it's a legit closure, that these symbols are no longer trading. Yeah, if it does come up where no, it's active, the symbol is trading, then go ahead and email us, send us an email letting us know for some reason this symbol had stopped receiving data, and then we will go in and correct that. But when you do verify that the symbol is no longer trading, then we would have to take the next step to modify, and which is what we'll do here in a second, to show how we deactivate that symbol properly in the portfolio. So do I have control? You have control, correct?
I have control, I guess. I don't know that I'd have to I don't know if I can do that. That'd be just another cluster. So
it'd probably shut down the whole show or something.
Probably. Yeah. Now, is this a shared portfolio?
I shared it with you. I created it.
Yeah. So I can't do anything with the shared.
Oh shoot, that's correct, isn't it?
Yeah. So what is it that you want? Well, it's the same procedure we just showed you.
Right.
You would just go in and turn it off.
Right. Yeah, it's the same procedure. Yeah, you would just, I guess I could just talk about that. So when you identify that these two symbols are the ones that cannot, or that are no longer trading, yeah, all you would do is you'd have to find out the day that it stopped trading. Whatever we had the last day of data on, you have to put a stop date on that date. So these, I believe, I have the list right here. They were actually on August 3rd. Yeah, maybe you could update. You could throw those symbols in a live on one of your portfolios.
Yeah, no, I've got a better idea. So here's some warnings here. So that's what you put in there.
That's what I put in.
Okay.
I totally forgot that you wouldn't be able to actually update it or modify it on your end.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So, but that's actually a point. If you folks, everybody that's on the call right now, if you can, if you know another user, you can share portfolios, and on right here, on this list right over here, this SH is a sharing. If I know a username of somebody, I can put the username in. I can put the username of the individual and hit apply, and then that other individual can actually see the portfolio, but they cannot change it. So it's a nice way to share. And then if somebody else wanted to use a strategy that you had, then this is a way to share a strategy, and they have control. And whenever they make changes, you would be alerted to those changes as well. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Let's talk about one more thing here on this stuff. When these things happen, let's see here. Let's go to. So this is in shared portfolios, Jay, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, right now. Yeah, WaveTech Training port warnings.
Okay. Yeah. So what will happen? This will show something else, which I wanted to show them. This part we can show you. This is what it will look like. In fact, the first thing you should probably do as you're going through is click on the active stocks. Notice how it has no data. Tells you right on the screen. these are problems. So you'd go through, make sure, hey, I know that stock's good. Then you would go, you'd come up here and do a feedback and click on feedback and go bug report and say, hey, there's something going on with this symbol. And then we'll follow up with that and get back to you on that as well. And I would suggest, Jay, that you use a messaging system to communicate directly to them. So when they log in next, when you've got that, that's probably the best place to do it.
Okay.
The stuff. But anyway, yeah. So this whole process here, you're going to see this no data. So if you should always check your portfolios. Couple things: procedure, check the active stocks, make sure everything's live as it should be. If there's missing data, then you got an issue. What happens with WaveTech inside of a portfolio, if it's got orders, rebalancing orders and stuff like that, it sees no data, goes, just skip it. I don't know what to do with it. There's nothing there. I'll just skip it. And so it will leave that symbol in there because it has no way to do anything with it because it doesn't have any type of active symbol in there so you can actually run this thing. So this is a good example, and on the home page, that's where you're going to see these warnings. So in this case, I have 6 portfolios for this morning. When I came in, if you come to the home page, it's going to tell you the portfolios you built that you have pending orders. And it's also going to tell you, like it did here, is that we've got missing orders. You can click on that little button there and it will tell you what they are. It also, I believe the way this works, if I remember right, 914, 911. So these are stocks that are missing the data. The first one, you'll get it if it's missing, I think, 1 day. And then the second warning is, okay, you better do something. So if
I think it's like 2 days. On the very first one, you'll start to get the yellow warning saying, there's been 2 days. But once it goes past that, then you get the critical red error.
Right.
Warning. I believe that's.
I think that's right. Yeah. So you should, if you come in and see yellow, that's like a caution. Hey, you've got an issue going on. So when you're running these portfolios and you want this accuracy, that's going to be really important to be able to know that these things are going on. I know this stuff seems complicated, but once you do it a couple times, it's second nature. And these are things that you just have to watch for and do things. So there are, they're in the training videos. I do cover this stuff as well. Some of the things I talked about today. So did you have anything else, Jay?
No, if you had a minute, it'd be cool since I forgot that you won't be able to actually modify or update that portfolio. Can you throw those into that option daily portfolio and just kind of show them what it looks like when the warning comes up and how to properly? Do you need those two? I've got them if you need the
yeah, I mean, I think I just went through all that, right? Didn't I?
Well, no, I mean to actually visualize when you're actually doing a stop.
Oh, I know, with the missing red data in the wizard. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, so what are the symbols?
ASNA, ASNA.
Right.
And then NE.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So what I'll have to do to authenticate this is I'll go into this here. I'm going to create, modify. I'm going to bring in option daily. I'm going to come down here to create custom. I'm going to add, what are those daily symbols, right? I guess it doesn't matter. ASNA.
I just put them on weekly, but yeah, it didn't matter.
Well, it said daily strategy. So ASNA and a NE.
Yeah, correct. NE.
Okay. So we're going to add those, and this is what Jay wanted to show you. That you'll notice here's one on 8.3. That symbol, it shows up in red here. So what you would do is just click here, and you would stop this one trading on, was it August 3rd or
correct, August.
Yeah, 3rd. August 3rd. Yeah. So you go to August 3, 2020, stop, and then apply. And now,
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everyone knew, because
yeah.
that is critical. Where if you okay, so that was August 3rd, but today is September 15th. So if you just were seeing this today to modify it, I didn't want everyone to think, oh, okay, I can just put in 9:15,
Yeah.
and we're done with it, because it won't, the system doesn't fully recognize it's been properly deactivated, and it not all the time, but it can still issue warnings. So yeah, you have to make sure you deactivate it on the last day of data.
Yep.
So that's kind of why I wanted to go over that real quick.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. I was trying to give you a hard time. Didn't work.
I was sticking to my guns. I've been wanting to
okay. Yeah, I see that. All right. It's going to cost you.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, so now I have red buttons. So you see I have data. And if I click on this button, it'll show me again, August 3rd, 2020. So I can check that. Same thing here, August 3rd, 2020. So we made a bunch of changes here. There's something else I kind of messed up telling you, but I want to go here and I want to create a snapshot. So I want to do a September 15, 2020. And I'm going to hit here. And what happened then is I have a snapshot, so I can actually go in here and reload all the settings. There's a couple things here. Is what I should have done was I should have made like this one. I should have made this one, then I should have made another one that said, and this usually what I do is I'll go update. Update September 15 and then hit OK. So now I have two. I have two in the drop down. I have an update. So I should have done, this is usually what I'll put is current, and then I'll do an update. And what's cool about this is, let's say we made all these changes in the portfolio. I could go back and load a previous setting in and see what if I didn't do those things that I did during those times. So if that happened, you could go, oh, look, I took all those stocks out. I should have left them in or whatever. Or what a great idea. It underperformed. But you could actually take and go back into settings and actually run things. The only problem you get into with doing that is if you have symbols, as Jay pointed out, that maybe were previously turned off on a snapshot. So, but anyway, you can go back. It's kind of a go back machine, if you will. You can go back. And we actually have in Portfolio Expert, we actually have a more sophisticated way where you can revert a portfolio at a click of a button to a previous version. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, so a lot of details. Okay, so I think we open up for questions and see what kind of questions we get, and then we'll do about a half hour, and then we'll finish up, because I got a late start there with all the things going on.
Hey Bob, this is Ram.
Yeah, Ram.
When you started this presentation, you showed the portfolio where you had 4 positions, and then as of tomorrow after the open, you'll have 6 positions, and only about 50% of your portfolio was actually allocated.
Yeah.
Now, can you remind us again, what is the parameter that limits it so why aren't those 6 positions taking up the entire portfolio in terms of the balance? There's a cap on how much any.
Well, it's the allocation. Yeah, it's by symbol. So the only way you can get protection, if you're always this is my point. If you're always reinvesting all the money, say, oh, I only have 6 now, I put all the money back to work, you're taking so much risk, you're never adjusting for risk. So when you,
right.
Okay.
So I know I was just trying to make sure I understood which parameter it was that limited how much.
Yeah,
exposure
so where that is here, like if we go over here and you can pop up this button right here, this ST button on the side. This shows you your setting. Those are your initial allocation factor. In this case, on this portfolio is, highlights it all, is 8% on this particular strategy. So it's going to,
one stock at most 8.2%.
yeah, and then once it gets to 100 though, then it goes linear and it will divide, let's say, how many symbols we got in here? 23, or I don't know what the totals, here it is, 29 symbols. Well, if 29 doesn't, if you multiply 8 times 29, you get more than 100%. So what will happen is once it uses, it's going to make 8% bets. So if it makes 12 of those or 9 of those, you're going to be 96. The 12th one, it's going to have to change the allocation factor dynamically to make the money fit in that pool of assets. Plus, we keep about a 2% slush fund around so you don't overspend the account. There's two things. We're shooting at moving targets. We're putting an order out today and you're executing the next morning. It's even going to be a little higher or lower in that. So that's...
But if you put 15% for allocation factor, would that mean that it will allocate the 100% since it's like 6 symbols multiplied 15, it will be around 100?
Yep, that's exactly it. And it's usually best to run the allocation factor and see how it runs. And then if you want to play with that allocation factor, you can up it. But what's going to happen is it's going to hit that allocation model and it's going to be trading all the time. And too much of that actually takes away profits where there's a certain amount of it. So if you set it on this high activity setting like it is here, it's going to have a reasonable amount. And Jay would tell you he likes to kick it up a little bit from that, right, Jay?
Yeah, I'm the real wizard. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love that.
So what you can do is when you're going through the reallocation stuff, there's a certain point where you're slicing it down too much. So let's say this is at 8%. Maybe you try it. Well, let's try 12 or let's try 8. Run it, see what the returns. If you're just starting a portfolio, once you get the portfolio done, there's no way for you to continue to. There's no way to continue for you to. You can't change it once you change it. Otherwise, it will mess up all the balances in your accounts, everything. So once you get an allocation factor set on a portfolio, then all you're going to do is what I showed today is you're going to take symbols in and out. That allocation factor, this one here, once it's set at 8.2, it will always be 8.2. And the other thing we suggest is to stick, maybe you could have a couple less, but you always want to have what your original number of symbols started. So if I started with 25, the reason why this shows 29, it shows the adds and the subtracts. But the initial core is you want to make sure you have some notes on that, hey, this is a 25 stock portfolio and this is how, I'm always going to have 25. So if you take 3 out, you got to replace it with 3. If you have 25 and you take 3 out, you get 22. You need to put 3 back in. You could leave them alone there, but what will happen is you'll have a little more cash, or you will over allocate and cause some other issues with the strategy.
Well, just one clarification on your previous point. When you say that once you set the allocation factor, not change it, and if you change it, everything screws up. What if you, for example, have here 0, 0, 8 to 0, you change it, you note what you had before, and then you tested it, and then you go back. Would it put everything back in place, or that wouldn't work?
No, you could go back and set it. Yes, you could definitely do that. But the point is once you go live and you're actually, I'm trying to turn you folks into money managers. So once you go live, then you want to maintain these numbers are really important to walk forward the process. So there's two things that happen. When we set it up, this is going back and it's doing a back test for 5 years. And then we want to walk it forward. And the walk forwards part is as critical as the back test. So we want to make sure the integrity of walking it forward is that you have the basic components. You have 25, I'm making, just saying it's 25 symbol strategy. It's always going to have 25. If I take 5 out, I got a 5, put it in. You could leave it a little lane and then update it the next quarter if you wanted to. So you could downsize it, but never oversize it typically. Once you get over there, you might be able to go a couple stocks, but maybe you wanted to add a couple in, but you always want to keep in mind that 25. It's just gonna help it out, help you out as far as walking forward the process. And so like I said, there's a back testing, and then there's a walk forward. And the walk forward is just as important that you're maintaining some consistency. How about some new folks? Any questions that you have? I'm just looking at some names here I haven't seen.
Yeah, hey Bob, it's Don. I emailed you a couple of questions earlier about combining portfolios or splitting them.
Yeah.
And adding funds.
Okay, that was
existing portfolio.
Yeah, so you don't have to. You just add funds to your brokerage account. This is a model, so that's a good question. I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's just say, let's go to the open positions here, and let's say this was our portfolio here, and what we want to do is. Right now we want to, let's say we have 100,000 in there and we want to add another 50,000. We would take the 150,000 and figure out AMD 6.01% of 150, and we would just add the difference in those two. Actually, I would just do the 50,000.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So
what? Split it by percentage and do it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why we deliver it in percentage. But that's okay. But no, I realize it. All of a sudden, it becomes obvious, right? But what happens is you just want to make sure these balances. That way, you don't have to change the value in the cash in the portfolio manager. This is just the model, and then your custodian, your broker, is going to keep all those values there, and so you can walk that forward. So, yeah.
Okay, and then if you want to split or combine a portfolio or multiple.
Yeah, so you
do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. So we used to have these sheets that you could do a combination on. I'm trying to resurrect a couple spreadsheets that we built. That the only thing that's required is you have to have access to run them. So if you just have Excel, you won't be good enough. You have to have access as well. But they will actually take in, and you can do multiple portfolios with different amounts, and it will actually build the orders and actually tell you the amount of shares, and you can tell it to round up, round down, and it's somewhat of a manual sheet, but once you get it set up, then you should be able to match. It'll be easy once it's just usually that first setup, and that's something that ultimately the plan is to be able to take these percentages and pass them over to your custodian or your broker dealer, and you'll be able to you'll be able to match up all the orders, and everything will match, and hopefully that's not too far in the future where you'll be able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, can I ask a question?
Sure.
This is Steve Fuller, and I have a little different scenario. I have a portfolio that I started that only had 35,000 in it. So what I did is I didn't place 15 symbols in that small portfolio. I only placed 7.
Right.
Now I'm going to add $100,000 to that portfolio, which means I need to add symbols to that portfolio.
Got it. Got it.
Here to start a whole new portfolio.
What do you think? I don't, let's see here. So you have 6 symbols in a strategy. Yeah. You know, it might be better just to build the one rebuild it for the, you know, for the $150 in there, and then you, and see what those are, and then just match those percentages with the ones you already have. Maybe you have to sell up or sell down or whatever you need to do, and then just match everything into that new pool. I think I would just build another one. I think that's right.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. Yeah. Jay, you agree with that?
Yeah, yes, I do, totally.
Okay.
I think that is the best way to go about it.
Yeah, it's probably the easiest way, Steve. Thanks.
Hey, Bob, this is Jim.
Yes, Jim.
When you make changes like you demonstrated earlier,
Yeah.
and the portfolio reruns, it makes, you know, and brings these new elements in, does it generally rebalance all the other holdings that you have? I mean, you know, if I've got 25 items in there, is it going to make adjustments to all 25, or is it just going to add 1 or 2 and sell 1 or 2? Or how big a change am I looking at?
Yeah, so it depends. It's somewhat dynamic. So let's say that when you, so this is the criteria you look at. So let's say, how many stocks are in your portfolio?
Right now, very few.
Okay, but let's say you got 20, okay? And
I asked the question, I didn't really count them.
that's okay. But let's just set it up hypothetically here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still testing this, trying to learn this thing before I start using it. Right now, I only have 7 in the portfolio.
Okay. Yeah. So, but let's just say so a couple things there, and it depends on who your broker is. If you have access to, you know, fractional shares, that's good. If you don't, that's fine. Fractional shares are a game changer from the standpoint of being able to take these down. And so but basically, let's just take 20. So it depends, your answer depends on what the profile of the strategy is. So here we go. So we get 20 symbols in there, and let's say you're going to add 4 symbols, and like the portfolio we looked at a minute ago was a short-term portfolio, and it's got 16 stocks that have no position. So this is what I've always suggested, is if you want to maintain kind of the cash balances, but you want some, it's sort of like looking at it like a sports team, right? It's more like, in a short term, it's more like a hockey game than it's going to be anything else, you know, or maybe football, right? So you're taking 4 guys out, you're throwing 4 guys back in, right? So you always want to match those. In this case, maybe you look at your bench, right? So you have the players on the field, which is your open positions. Now you get your sidelines, and you can actually take and pull some new folks and change your bench a little bit. So your bench, this is when you don't have a position, you're actually adding players that you think are going to be able to play better than the ones that you had in there before. So that's what we did with, you know, when we took Intel out, terrible stock. We're taking that out. We're going to replace it with another player. He doesn't have a position, but it does have, how's the best way to put this out? But it does have, you know, it's in the queue to come in if a new trade comes. So, yeah, real quick, Jay, tell that guy that it's only half price right now. So
yeah, I said that.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was trying to
All
type it better, that it's prorated.
All right, we're running 2 screens. So back to the question is that, Jim, what would happen then is the best thing is to try to make sure if you're putting new stuff in that you don't cause it to have you're putting in symbols that are going to use more money than you have. If it does, then it's going to rebalance. You could get a lot of trades if it's a fairly new portfolio. You could get all 20 stocks could have slight changes in them. So that gets a little cumbersome. The good news is you should have a broker dealer that charges you no tickets. And if you have fractional shares, then it's just more of a pain than it is of money. Used to be that cost money to make that. But what I would do is try to say, if I got new ideas and I have cash and I got 4 symbols that don't, just replace the 4 symbols that aren't on the field with 4 more guys that are going to just sit on the bench and wait to get on to come back in the game. And that way you won't force it to do crazy things. You know?
Okay, so like right now I said I had 7. I got 7 open positions, but I've got 11 active positions.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you could replace, those symbols that don't have any active positions right now, and then you could change. You could do that without causing any issues with your current open positions, right? No, but if you put 4 symbols that you looked at in research and they had positions when you put them in, then when you turn them on for the next day, it's going to buy them all. This is going to go, hey, these guys are long. I'm supposed to go to work, and off it goes.
Okay. I just need to keep playing with it, and I'll learn it soon.
Yeah, well, hey, you just came in, right?
Right.
Yeah, so hang in there. Yeah, we'll work with you. Watch those videos. Come to these meetings. That's why we do this stuff. It's reasonably complex just because you haven't done it before. Once you get it, this is the hard part. Like anything, you learn it, and there's not, it's very simple to update once you get it going.
Okay.
Hey, Jay, tell them that stuff's going to be out this week, the grid.
Okay. Oh, is it this week? Okay.
I already got it working. I just can't figure out how to deliver it right now.
Okay.
I'm close.
All right. All right. Well, I was going to ask a question. Oh, yeah, I didn't want to go ahead. I didn't want to cut in, and I'll ask a question later. No big deal.
Thanks, Jay. Just with the allocation buys and sells, I noticed I'm running just the air bucket simulation, and I noticed it come up with a sell for Sky West, and then the next day it come up back to buy.
Yeah, my favorite trade.
What? It must be like tinkering on the edge of not sure where it wants to be. What's your advice there?
It's my very favorite trade. I love those, the buyback ends. They're usually the buyback is usually a good one. It usually doesn't get whipped on that thing, whipsawed. It's funny because those are the kind of trades we used to call gotcha trades when I was on the trading floor. They gotcha. You knew you had it right. You stopped out at the dang low, and the stock reversed right in your face, right? And those are the hardest trades to learn, to just buy them back. You just immediately buy them back. You don't mess around with it. You buy them back. And
so just trust it and just do it.
Yeah, if you like the stock, yeah, just do it. Yeah, and especially if you're running these short term, you're going to see more of that than you will on an intermediate term. You're not going to see that, but we do see those on where maybe it got a sell this week, and all of a sudden next week it's buying it back, and you're like, really? I just sold this thing. But they're usually those buyback trades. You can look at them, Wayne, if you go through like if you look through if you look through the whole list of trades on a symbol, if you see those, look at that next trade, and you'll see what I'm telling you is it's not always a winner, but there's usually not a consecutive loser on a buyback in.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Thanks.
Hey, Bob, this is Jim again. I got one more quick question.
Sure.
When you update things at the end the market closes at the end of the day, and then you go in and you do some updates and you do a run. How long does it take for the database to update for you to do a run that actually reflects all the information that's coming into the model?
Yeah. So where are you at?
I'm in Central Time.
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah, so about 9:30. I thought I heard a Texas accent there.
Yeah, there's a Texas.
Oh, my wife's Texan, so don't worry about that. We're good. But yeah. So at 6, roughly at what time is it? 8:30, 7:30 your time. It will update every night. And if you put any changes in, that's when we get data. The servers run roughly and finish at about 7:30. That's a little bit beforehand, but I just tell everybody that's it. As a matter of fact, when we first opened up the gates to this product, the first night, the server just got blown up. Everybody was logging in at this right at the moment. It's like, oh my gosh. So anyway, we've updated the servers like 3 times, so we've got a lot of capacity now. So we're good.
So that's 7:30 Central Time.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, do I ask my question now? I guess I didn't want to cut in on anyone else's question time.
Yeah.
One of the questions that or emails that I have been getting over the last week or two, I believe was something you may have just started to mention earlier was, and I want to make sure that I'm telling everything the right answers. But when they do a 5-year back test, and let's say they start with what they have now, which is, I'm just using an example of like $20,000. And the 5-year back test, it's a good back test, they like it, but the back test makes 20,000 turn into, let's say, 500,000, and they want to execute that portfolio. They don't have the 500,000. Do they just go ahead and rebuild that portfolio and only?
No, you just match the percentages. It doesn't matter what, there could be $3 million. It's the percentages that you're seeing on the screen right here. You just match the percentages.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what the model says it has.
Mhm.
So 6% of 20,000 is 6% of it's the same number. 6% of a million, 6% of 20, 6% of 10. It's just 6% of the assets go into that trade. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So that's the point of delivering everything in percentages, so that you don't have to have the money that's in the models. Like this one here, let's go back here. This one here has 238,000. You don't need 238,000. You could have 23,800, and you're just going to match these.
Well, what about just to elaborate a bit on Jay's question, but what about if I want to match it like exactly? Why wouldn't I just go and, like, for example, tomorrow I want to start on September 16th and I know that I'm going to start with 100,000. Why just not to start it all over from September 16th?
There's no point. 0 point, because the numbers are it's still going to say buy 6%, buy whatever, and you're not going to have a back test, and you're not going to have any vision to be able to track.
But I could copy it. I could just mirror it and like.
That's all you're doing. Yeah, you just match the orders. Yeah,
no,
because.
But what if I save the old one as like back test, and then I do the create a new one as a complete match?
You've got to have, Jay, how long? You've got to have at least, what, a month of data even to get it to work?
Yeah, 30 days.
You can't do it one day. It won't even work, Michael. You got to have money in there. And the point where it matters is on your brokerage account. That's where you get the returns at. So I get where you're at. We had a function, which I would like to have back in there many years ago, that you could put a starting date and say, I started on this date. What's my return from that starting date? And you actually have the ability to do that in a spreadsheet. Like if I went in here and I did this history, if I bring up this right here, this actually has all my equity. So there is a way to actually build it from this spreadsheet here. And like I said, I'm trying to resurrect some old spreadsheets that we had back in the 90s. But yeah, so I get what you're trying to do is you want to see what the returns are from when you started. I get that. But that's what your broker's for. You know, so if you,
But not even that. Like my point to do that is to have like 100% match, and because some symbols which are in for a month or like for 3 months, they already have more return. And while I'm entering, I wanted like to match 100%, so like I don't need to do Excel recalculations. So I kind of like mirror it 100%, you know, from the beginning. So like day one, the model enters, I enter.
yeah, it's the same thing if you just match the percentages. I don't know how to, I can't, yeah, it, yeah, there's no way to do what you're talking about. You just, the way to do it is to match the percentages. And I have a spreadsheet. If I can resurrect this, you put your dollar amount in. You'll actually, all you have to do is you'll do this. You'll cut and paste, like I highlight on the screen. I copy it. I paste it into the spreadsheet into a box. It does that. I put the dollars in. It tells you exactly how many shares to buy. You tell it whether to round up, round down. I've been playing tag with a guy that does some work for me. I got to find where that's at. So once I have that, I'll be able to, yeah, but it just matched the percentages and you're in sync 100%. Doesn't matter when the trade comes in. It is what no, you know, even if, yeah, I think Jay and I figured out you got to put at least 2 months. I think it's like 60 days. You might be able to do 30, but you're still going to be out of sync of what you're trying to achieve by getting.
I'm surprised because I remember on the presentations one like a couple of weeks ago, you did actually a portfolio which started like September 1st, and it was only like 9 days or something.
Yeah, maybe so. You can do it, but it's not going to achieve what you want it. You're still not going to have the right amount of shares. The value is going to be different than the starting value. So if you started with 100,000 on September 9th, it's even going to be 93,000 or it's going to be 105,000. And the only thing that matters is the percents that I have on the screen right now. None of that matters. It's just, you know, like I said, I'm gonna resurrect that spreadsheet just so you can. There's a couple. All you have to do is highlight, copy, and paste. I think this is the open positions is all you have to do, and the orders. So like in this case, we'd highlight this, we drop it in, you put the dollar amount, 100,000, you click calculate, and then you also tell it to round up, round down to tell you exactly how many shares to buy. So we need to resurrect that, and it's kind of clunky. I think if I think it would be fairly simple actually with today's technology to get away from Excel and maybe just build some kind of jQuery or some type of JavaScript that would achieve the same thing. I think that would be pretty simple to do actually. I'll have to see if I can get someone hired to do that. But that would be nice. You just go to the Portfolio Expert website, calculate orders, drop in these things, and what's even better would be if it could just automatically import it. But with this product, it's not going to happen. Yeah, so it's just match the percentages. That gets you exactly where you're supposed to be. And like this case here, see, it even tells you what the projected, and this one's 8.118 for the next orders, and that's what, yeah. I will definitely look up that spreadsheet and I will make it available on the website. Yeah, I'm answering a YouTube. Steve Go 48. The allocation percent impacted if you use hypothetical 100 versus 300. No, that's my point here. So, you know, you could have 10 million and the percentages are all going to be the same. The allocation factor with the, what it's doing is it's running a 100% pie chart. And in this particular strategy, we told it to be highly aggressive if we go back to the list here, we go back to the list and we go to this, I pop up this box here, you'll see that we have it a high activity, low liquidity. So it's being aggressive with how it uses the capital, and then it won't change any of the, it doesn't matter. In this case, we start with 100 grand. I could change it to 300,000 on the back test, and the percentage was, all the percentages would be the same. So the starting amount does not matter. Long answer, but. So let's do 2 more questions. I'm going to stick to my guns here, getting done with this. Hopefully we're getting a lot of questions answered. I am, there have been questions about the market grid numbers, and I would just reach out, and if you guys are on the, this was really funny. Yesterday, I tried to make a post on, as an administrator on the Facebook group. I put in there, hey, we're working on finalizing the WaveTech market grid. Can you guys give me a list of symbols that you would like to see on it, right? And Facebook flagged me as I violated community standards by that post. And we were trying to figure it out yesterday, and we have no clue. But so, but anyway, I thought, oh, it's been about 2 hours. I'm going to see how that post, see what kind of ideas everybody's coming up with. And I go in there, and I've been flagged for breaking Facebook community, but for mentioning WaveTech and stock symbols, I guess. I'm not sure. I think their algorithms kind of shows you how screwed up they are. But anyway, yeah, so that was interesting, I thought. Yeah.
You got blocked by your own rules.
I got blocked. Yeah, it wasn't even our rules. It was Facebook.
The Facebook rules. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. You didn't put in those parameters on.
Yeah, I thought it was. I got blocked by myself, but it wasn't.
You're thinking, no one cares. No one cares about what I posted.
No, it didn't. Feedback. It said it didn't get posted.
Oh.
It popped up right away, right on my screen. So yeah,
okay.
Kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah. So I see some folks coming into YouTube asking stock questions. This says software training tomorrow live stream. Join us at 1:30 Eastern time, and we'll be doing our typical live stream. Any last question? I'm always impressed. Richard Lawless staying up in the middle of the night over there to watch us. I appreciate it, actually. Isn't it quite late there? Anyway.
Isn't it Australia, right? And is that where he's at? Australia?
No, in Berlin.
No, he's in Berlin. I know where he's at.
I'm sorry, wrong picture.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. Let it run for a couple of hours. Catch other users, challenges and thoughts.
It's only it's only midnight. That's early night for me. So I haven't been to bed at midnight for a long time. So.
I just finished a cup of coffee.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. As always, thanks for a good show.
All right. One last question. Yeah, so maybe next, Steve, yeah, just looking at walk through matching allocation, next day buy sell orders, and then rematch number of shares. Yeah. So I believe, by the way, now, I don't know who your broker is, but most of them, I know I have most of the accounts I've seen is you can, when you go to put an order in, you can actually put in, if you're only running on this account, and I don't know if they let you segregate out the account, but you can actually put a dollar amount or a percentage amount typically. So you should be able to match it that way. That's only going to work if those are, if it's looking at the total assets. And one of the things you folks can do, by the way, and it's somewhat interesting going and looking and working with retail customers, because retail does not have the same type of access to order entry that the professional community has. They have a lot of different orders, although I'm researching a couple things. There's a company called Tradier and some other things I'm looking at as a possibility of being able to do batch orders and be able to actually, actually get these orders passed through. And what would be nice if you could just segregate out a chunk of money. So what you can do is potentially consider, if you're really getting serious about running your money in this environment, in a closed environment, is set up a secondary account and just put whatever money you're going to fund this strategy with and put it into that account. And then you always know you're matching that account with it, because you're going to have multiple accounts within. So that's another way you can go. Yeah, Joel G, I am a community violator on my own group. It's pretty funny. Yeah, so okay, folks. Hopefully this was good. Sorry for the rough start. I was trying to do something today I never did before, and now I know not to do that again. Evidently, there's some issues. I was hoping to actually have some live video on screen on Zoom and then show that on the other one, but there's a conflict between the two pieces of software. So okay. All right, folks. And I think that should do it. So I really appreciate everybody coming today. We had a fair amount of people on YouTube as well. And, I guess the thing that I probably could have put this up a little bit ago, but if you want to try the WaveTech and you're not currently a subscriber, it's $3.12 a day. We don't have a trial, but right now it's the 15th, so it'll cost you roughly $45 or $50 to start, and then if you roll over and stay with the first of the month, then it'll be $97. So we do these meetings every week for training and all kinds of stuff. So, and yeah, I actually have some stuff done, and with the grid, I just have one last HTML issue that's just making me crazy. So I had some CSS issues with with WaveTech, and I think we're just going to put something else together. Shouldn't take but a couple days, I'm hoping. If I have to, I'll put it out there, and it'll be ugly and it'll get pretty. So I just want to get it out there because I've got a lot of symbols. So yeah, so make sure go on the Facebook, and if you want to see certain symbols, I basically on the market grid going in is there's going to be some issue, some of the issues if like equities, there'll be some ETFs, and then the primary indexes. And I'm glad to put in Canadian indexes, different indexes that you folks might be watching out there. I'm glad to put those in. It takes zero effort. It all gets generated. I can actually do up to about 2,000 or 3,000 symbols, but there's no way to distribute it easily. You'll never find anything. So until we figure all that out, that'll be the way to go about that. So anyway, yeah, just know that it's close. And I see there's a gentleman on this on the Zoom meeting that is helping me get that done. So anyway, yeah, he's actually done his part. It's all on me now. So thanks, Sam. Anyway, yeah, folks. So I'm gonna close it down. So as always, thanks a lot. Tomorrow 1:30, we're doing markets at 1:30 to the close. So we'll hang out, and do 2.5 hours, and we'll move it forward. Sorry about the rough start today. Thanks again for coming and spending some time with me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. Hey, before I run Jimmy on YouTube, yeah, I would be careful of the low ERs. The only reason why I would use a stock with a low ER is if it were something you knew something, you're just looking for a trade on the stock. And I would also, if it's a short term, I would use a 1.2 daily, and I would use that as a trade trigger for a trade. And sometimes it doesn't have to be a good ER. If it's at a low point and you think it's going to move, then use the models to locate the entry in. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.